So good one. Anyone who was missing Shashwat or not missing him, next time you will see him.
Not with a crew cut.
In an improved avatar.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where at least you can see him. And you can wear your spectacles with that. Don't have to do without.
And it's okay if you have to set it also every single time. It's okay.
That's one problem.
Nice.
Yes.
That's one problem you're saying he's going to face now. He's like, don't get carried away. It's the first day. The Baba was kind. I'll need a lot of time.
Oh, he can do those hair gels and spike it up and do anything.
Yep.
Do whatever he wants. So what's buzzing? The team has reached.
The team has reached South Africa. For once, we hope that they can conquer the final frontier. Because they have won ODIs, they won T20I series all over the globe. But they have never won a test series in South Africa. That's the only thing I'm looking forward to in this tour. Can they win a test series and join Australia and South Africa to have won a test series all over the globe? Even England has never won a test series in one country. So that's why only 2 nations.
And what else is Shan Masooda, 201 not out.
201, yep.
There is
391
one more
from
instance, by the way, from this match I was reading about, which people are talking about. That the graphic in this particular in this particular match, the graphic was inappropriate and a term which shouldn't have been used in the first place.
Normally you take 3 letters, right, of the team. So they took the first 4
They
for
took
Pakistan.
the 4th one as well for Pakistan.
Indeed.
Which is
mischievous, maybe.
No, which for people who are not aware is a racist slur in the West. So I mean, if you said Paki, that's a racist slur. And by the way, that's directed at any brown-skinned person.
Exactly.
It's not just restricted for, and that's a racist slur. So they put that in the scorecard.
It was running with that.
The graphic.
That's terrible. The guy should be fired.
Yeah.
Whoever did that. That's a direct racist slur because you can't normalize such thing. It's like, I mean, you use African Americans. At one point there was a word started with N which was pretty normal to be used, but now it's pretty much out of the vocabulary. You cannot. It's direct racist slur. So you use African American and so on and so forth.
Yep.
You can even use like people of the
African descent,
or even the black people of America, and so that's pretty normal now. That's accepted, but not that one word, which by the way is very commonly used in India. I cannot tell you how many times I see people refer to people of African descent with that N word, and so normally without realizing.
Did that not happen yesterday while you were upstairs?
It did. And it happens very often.
But
anywhere.
I was like a little taken aback that it was spelled out with ease.
Because it's normalized here.
Yeah.
In India, that way, I mean, a lot of words are normalized. And it's in a normal. That's why I tell people that and I see it when I travel in the West, people have become so aware of exactly what word to use, which can offend people. And if someone does end up using that word, it is, something that people will take offense to. You can file a police complaint and issue will be taken up. Here it's pretty normal in our country. I often say that we're quite racist in that sense. Probably the most racist with, we judge people from where they come, people from the north, like Madrasi or Tambi and things like that. People in the south is pretty common with, and they say it without even getting uncomfortable about it.
It's
rather sad.
Unknowingly racist, people being unknowingly
racist. They don't even know that they're offending someone.
Exactly, and it's unintentional racism also.
Yeah, like people, of Mongolian descent, like you're calling them Chinese or
worse
words, which I would never use. And then I'm sure that there are biases other way as well.
Yep.
Like I know there are a lot of different parts of the country that every North Indian is also a Punjabi only, which there are so many different North Indians, and every North Indian is in that sense sometimes viewed as aggressive and brash and all of that.
As someone not from North India can confirm that stereotype exists.
What?
I'm saying as someone who's not necessarily from North of India, grown up here, can confirm that stereotype does exist.
Yeah. So I'm saying There's not one area which is more guilty than the other.
No, they're all
All of
guilty.
us are.
All of us.
Yeah, everywhere we look at.
And the assumption is that we all like the dhol.
Not for me.
I would normally.
I'm just like, so that's the stereotype, na?
I would normally laugh at that, but then kind of married into that, so can't even.
So yeah,
It's a necessary evil, unfortunately, in this sport.
It's not evil. It's so fun.
It's not an evil. See, again, by the way,
So he's very much North Indian, na? That's the whole point. We're all
no,
diverse
but
that way.
excuse me, there are dhols of all kinds even in South India.
In
It's just that
West
different,
also.
different rhythm, different sound. Same in the West. In fact, once we played that dhol, I told you.
And
in
East
Maharashtra.
also, you have when
East.
Durga Puja time is going on, you have the dak, which is beautiful.
It's the symbol, the dog, and all that. Yeah.
So every part of the country, all I want to say is that for people who are watching, and by the way, it's just coincidentally, we're talking about it, there's that big political debate happening in the South and whatever. All I'm saying is that, each part of the country, it's because I've stayed in each part of the country, from South to West to North and East, and stayed for like years. Each part is so beautiful and has its own culture and food and customs, which when you see from afar, you judge and you make, whatever stereotypes. But when you stay in a particular place and then when you embrace it, when you see it happening around you, you find the beauty of it and then you start enjoying it. So that's what I'm saying. Be respectful of everyone. Don't come up with stereotypes. Don't come up with names of whatever calling.
Speaking of not coming up with names.
Exactly. If you're talking about news, there's names being called, and one such individual who's not liked being called a certain name has taken to social media. Everyone's talking about him, and I'm talking about Sreesanth over here.
Kumar and Sreesanth.
He finds ways of being in the news, though this time around he sounds more like the victim, I would say, of some sort of little abuse. And
Of being called 2 F words.
and being given names as
2
well.
or 1, I thought.
No, 2. One is the abusive one, the other is fixer. F and F.
So what does everyone make of it? Who's the right, who's the wrong? What's your opinion on that?
Between two combustible elements, which is less combustible, I don't know. Gambhir and Sreesanth are two individuals who like to pick fights in an empty room.
If you put them in an empty room, that's enough material to make a nuclear bomb.
Exactly. Oof.
Right? That's enough RDX to blow 5 buildings together.
5 buildings together, yes.
Isn't it?
Yes,
Like the two of them
absolutely.
together. Yeah.
But
Anyway.
in these kind of things, we don't know who is right or who's wrong. I mean, see, we are not there specifically at that point. Oh, did we hear it? But it can also mean that I'm going to hit you for a 6. He might have heard as something else.
6 and 6.
Yeah, so again, that's what he said.
We're being very
So now
generous.
people around Gambhir perhaps are saying that no, he said sixer, and he heard fixer.
Exactly. That's the thing.
It's like it takes me. Yeah. Which by the way, Sreesanth has said that he said that the PR machinery is at work. That reminds me of the entire, and I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying it's a parallel because this word being misheard was quite similar in the Monkey Gate scenario.
Yeah.
Where you had a incident. You all know Andrew Simons, Harbhajan Singh, where Andrew Simons alleged that he was called monkey, and later. And this is not something the Indian team said earlier, but during the hearing, the Indian team said that they had it was an abusive term called Maki because it's
Up in the north mostly.
Yeah. No, but that's not to say that there are any less abusers in the south of India.
Of course.
It's just
plenty.
that the north of India gets a bad name. But as I said, each culture will have their beautiful literature. It will also have this vocabulary that will exist. There can be no culture without these two extremes, right?
They're both cultures.
Exactly. So he had said that they argued that it was Maki, and all of that. So I think it reminds me of that.
Yeah.
He's saying sixer, he heard fixer, whatever.
When we have to determine who is right or wrong in these modern fights, we don't know who it is. See, look at Andrew Simons and Harbhajan Singh. Who was wrong, who was right? It's a blurred line. Look at what happened with Kohli and Naveen Haq on May 1st. Sweet mangoes, but it's come out totally clarified and everything in that sense.
I don't buy Naveen's side of
Exactly,
stories
but then
minute.
see, he said
Nonsense.
it. He said it. So that's why now it just took one statement from Kohli. Shall we end this? Okay, we'll end it. So in the entire thing, there were a lot of conspiracy theories as to who was right, who was wrong. Even here, Is it the last that you have heard of Gambhir and Sreesanth? No. Gambhir in particular, he never lets bygones be bygones.
No, what even are bygones? That word doesn't exist in his dictionary.
Exactly. Gambhir also had a massive showdown in the Delhi dressing room once with KP Bhaskar. That was a very ugly feud. So, it's in Gambhir's DNA to fight.
I mean, where it was reportedly said, again, I cannot confirm because I wasn't there in the dressing room, but there was a news report that carried where the captain at the time, Delhi captain, told the coach that how many matches have you played? How many test matches have you played for the country? That you're going to decide who I will. It did happen, but that's not the only one. There are many other cases that has happened. I was there in Sri Lanka very recently. But there was a major fracas that happened at the game in Palakele where crowds were chanting something and Gautam gave them the middle finger. But then again, we do not know the truth, where Gautam claims that they were anti-India and Kashmir slogans being chanted at the time, which he did not take very kindly. And then there is the other side which said that no, nothing of that sort was said. It was only Kohli chants and he got upset, or Dhoni chants, whatever, he got upset. And anyway, we don't know. It's just the fact that it happened. So just reporting what happened. We don't know who's right or wrong.
There's no stump mics for this tournament. It's a bit of a shame. Would have been fun.
But I tell you, even if they had the stump mic, it's not necessary that audio comes out.
Exactly.
Because again, if I'm looking for parallels, it is he will ensure that we get a strike. So there is a incident that happened in the IPL involving one of the individual that we're talking about.
Right.
And at that time, there was footage available. So, I mean, it was Harbhajan Singh, Sreesanth, Slapgate. I still remember that it was, the initial part of the IPL. I was having a dinner and then it happened end of the game. So, it was late night.
It was the first ever IPL, if
yes.
I'm here.
So, it happened at the end of the game. And then it was, I think, Mumbai Indians Kings 11 because Sreesanth was playing for the Punjab franchise and Harbhajan was with Mumbai. And so it happened at the end of the game and all hell broke loose because Sreesanth came out in the open and mentioned that this such and such thing had happened. But I tell you the impact when the IPL came, and I was one of those skeptics who thought that IPL will never become as big or even close to Indian cricket. Today I stand here or sit here being proven wrong because it has quite rivaled any top international brand or series as such. But I think that particular incident had a major role to play in the IPL, in IPL becoming what? Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying IPL has become what it is because of just that incident. Of course not. There's a lot of cricket, a lot of things that went into it. But all I said is, and I'm giving you a perspective from the media side, before that, IPL would beg us to carry news related to the IPL in our programs and would offer us interviews and offer us various things and say that give it some publicity initially. And we would do it, but we were never convinced that it is that big because it hadn't become that big. But for the very first time, the first incident where you did not need IPL pushing you to carry something, at best you would carry match report. Anything other than that would be interviews, which also the IPL would facilitate, as in get you a star, a Bollywood star or a player, and you would just carry it. But there was no analysis, there was no debate, there was no 24/7 sort of coverage over the IPL that you get now. That incident changed it all. That was the first incident. Once it happened, every day from there on, your TV programs only carried that news. And as I said, of course, that wasn't done by design. It happened by default. Even the IPL guys did not realize. Lalit Modi also didn't realize. But that happened. But what he did, and I'll give him credit, and that's why I say that he's a marketing genius. What he did, again, now I look at it in hindsight. He saw that this has happened, and news is picking it up. What it's giving them publicity, your bulletin, which would just carry one match report in a half-hour show and carry other stuff and not give it too much, at best another interview maybe, is now fully dedicated to this. He realized that there's potential in what has just happened. What did he do? He instantly, him being a marketing genius, instantly made all available parties. What would typically happen? What would the old school thinking be like? Siddharth and Shane has fought. Now if I'm in charge, I don't want any bad publicity. I'm going to tell them Shane, dare you speak to any media? Okay. Anybody wants to know? Shut yourself up, go underground, play your matches. All you have to say is no comment. Siddharth, going to do the same. And what will happen? Sooner or later, this will die down. Right? He said no. He said, you want it? Here's Harbhajan Singh. Harbhajan, sit. 5 channels, do his interview. Harbhajan, please talk about it. Harbhajan spoke about it. Instantly after that happened. This was the first time, this is Indian cricket changing and him realizing. Previously, any issue would happen, what would you do? Go behind closed doors, shut it to the media, let it die down. Let the hype come down. He said, all right, Sreesanth, you the second person, come, do it. Speak to the media, add fuel to the fire, give it publicity. And that went on, and for 1 day became 2 days, to 3 days, to 4 days, we kept doing it. Then, what did he do? Let's have an inquiry. What would inquiries be before this? Behind closed doors, everything is done. You would have to actually call up sources, find out what has happened. Here he said nothing. Camera put. It's going to be there. See what is happening in the inquiry. Farooq Engineer will head the inquiry. He was made the head. Yeah. He sat there. Everything is documented. Watch it. He made it 24-hour live television. What you saw in Big Boss much later, he said, do it now. Yeah. Do it now. And he had the media eating out of his hands. That's what he did. And that was a master stroke. Because from there on, IPL was like this, just about, surviving. It went like this, the graph went like this in terms of coverage and interest in you. Drama. And from there, it never stopped. Again, I reiterate, it's the cricket. Eventually, it's the cricket, the quality of games is what took it where it is. But I'm just saying it needed, sometimes
a bit of a fillip.
No, it needed a kickstart. Now your car can go fast, but it's not starting. So you got one dhakka. Once you got the dhakka, now it will go on 100 kilometers. Now it's reaching 100 not because of your dhakka, because of the fine engine that it has or the petrol that you've put. But that dhakka was needed, na?
Yes.
And that dhakka is what he got. And I remember that whole incident. One thing which did not happen, which I expected. Do you know there was a actual footage that existed of that incident? There was actual footage that was actually shown to the committee when they were doing the inquiry. They were shown because initially, Harbhajan denied it and.
Well, he said, she said, basically.
Yeah, it was that. But then when they produced the footage, it was there, it was documented, you could see it. And then, he was given a suspension for multiple games, 7 or something like that. 8 games, something like that. And so there was but the one thing they did, which they could have, again, made use of is make that footage public. So that footage has never gone public. It never came out. But
eventually it might.
No, but if it's not come now, it's unlikely. See, it could have happened. I'll give you another example. Was ISL. If you remember, there was a fight when Elano, the Brazilian star, was here. After the final, there was a fight. And again, it was he says because that actual footage did not exist. Okay,
it was in the tunnel or something like that.
No, it was in the open area near the dugout. Okay. But initially, when that started happening, they just cut to the long shot and ensured that nothing close was shown, and you did not see it. But there was a camera that followed it closely, and you could actually see who came, who pushed, who started the fight, physical, all of that. That existed. That footage did not come out. Elano went to jail that night, then later was given bail. Then he flew back, never came back, I think.
No, he didn't after that. One season he played.
But when they wanted to take some sort of a action against the owners at that time, that footage was leaked. That footage was leaked to me.
Oh.
And I carried the news. I was first one who saw that footage. And then I carried that news, which actually showed the owners being the guilty party. After that, if you go back and see now, AIFF on the basis of that footage again did an inquiry, and the owners were found guilty and they had to relinquish the ownership. So if you saw FC Goa, it was owned by 2 other businessmen earlier, Srinivas Dempo and
Salgaonkar.
I think Salgaonkar. They owned it, and because that footage came 3 years later, they had to relinquish, that action was taken. Then it was sold to the current owners, which is the Delta Group.
No, it's a consortium. Yeah.
Correct. That happened. They were forced to let go because those charges were. But as I said, footage can be leaked, but that was leaked within 2-3 years.
Now it probably won't be.
This will not. That's why I gave you that example. This will not be leaked.
Yeah, it was Goa, Chennai, right?
No, Chennai. Chennai was the club that Elano was playing for at that point.
I remember. 16, right? It was around.
No, it was I think it was the first season Ilana was playing.
Must have been 14.
Yeah,
14.
But when I did that news, you may still find it. And I was with a different organization and I got that footage first. So we did planned it that today and we'll do it from tomorrow. This time we'll start going with the news, breaking it, carrying it. And so it was done that way. But that was, I think, a couple of years later after the incident had happened.
Yeah, because I remember Ilana only played one season. He didn't come back after that. In fact, the reason he didn't come back was because of this.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing. That footage has never been. But again, as I said, to be fair to him, Harbhajan Singh owned up, accepted it. It was done. Was punished for whatever game.
Yep.
And the best of friends now.
And they even made ads for certain companies based on that fight.
Interestingly, even Andrew Simons, the late Andrew Simons, and Harbhajan also became very thick.
Even Ricky Ponting and Harbhajan became good friends. All three played for MI in the title-winning year of 2013.
But that's what sport is. You realize that you let bygones be bygones in that sense, and then you see in the heat of the moment, it is possible, right? When you're playing, and especially when you're playing at the highest level.
Yeah.
And if you're like two champions, you are a champion in the sense you're so used to doing well, and when you get a setback, I'm not saying that that's an example people need to follow. I'm not saying that. I'm not justifying their actions as well, but I'm just saying it can happen in sport so long as after that you regret it, shake hands, don't hold it for the rest of your life and move on.
I mean, don't become like an Ian Botham or Ian Chappell.
Yeah,
That is one of. I think they tried Channel 9, but I think it
didn't work.
Yeah. Too much water flew under the bridge, and that's why you can't build bridges anymore now. And kind of, you look at it, Botham was the bigger man. I think everybody panned Ian Chappell's criticism of behavior in that sense.
Yeah, I remember Botham in 2 or 3 occasions did try to kind of start the dialogue there. Chappell was like, no, not happening.
But I know Chappelli. I've worked with him. Amazing guy.
Yeah.
One of the best guys that I've worked with. So professional. Forthright, so professional. But that's his nature as well. If you're talking about Ian Botham, he never got along with Sir Don.
Yes.
Sir Don. Sir Don, who no one could do anything. But that's what I'm saying. So it's not that today he was in a higher position, so he's acting all coy and saying, "Oh, I'm not."
He was always like that.
He was always upright. So even when he was, much smaller in stature compared to the great Sir Don, even then stood by his principles. No means no.
Yep.
So that's his personality.
Because he never approved of the way Don Bradman was running the Australian cricket board. And that's why WSC was created, World Series Cricket. Because Bradman had almost pushed Australia's cricket board into bankruptcy. And that is the reason why Kerry Packer bounced upon it. And who was one of the first guys to go into WSC? Ian Chappell. And he was very critical. Even now, he holds a big grudge against Sir Don Bradman. That's why. So I really appreciate Chappelli's forthrightness in this. Man of principles.
Talking about man of principles, when BCCI had, and I did a session with him, and at those times I'd read reports, but I remember there was a HT Summit session that I did, and till that time he hadn't spoken, they were just reports, and I asked him, and I thought for one moment he might be hesitant to reply, but he was open and said and confirmed yes. So the story was that there was a story that came a few months before that he has not been picked to do an India-Australia series, which he had been doing for so many years, coming to India commentary, because BCCI had given him a list of do's and don'ts, a diktat where you cannot question selection, you cannot do that. And when he saw that contract, he said, listen, I'm a commentator, you can't do that. You can't give me a list of do's and don'ts. I mean, there could be certain you can't use certain words or this, that's fine, within the framework of what is right broadcast. But you can't curtail my thoughts or my opinion in that sense. So he was pretty adamant. He refused. He said, okay, fine, if I'm not getting money, that's okay, but I'm not going to sign on the dotted line. And then this is a report that came, he had never mentioned, and so then I got to interview him in that panel session. And I asked him, he said, yes, I did not, because I'm never going to. So to be fair to him, he was consistent in his approach.
Very rare. I mean, there's a man of principle who sticks to his principles. Very rare.
Fantastic guy. Fantastic guy.
Only 2 remain out of that Fab 4 of commentary now.
Oh yes.
Richie Beno's gone, Tony Gregg's gone. Only Chappelli and William Morris Lowry they remain. That's it. But they are not on commentary anymore. That's why half of watching that Australian summer is gone for me. Why would I?
The new bunches.
Except for Mark Howard to a certain extent, I like his enthusiasm.
Okay, but
he's quite good.
But the other names you mentioned,
No, truth be told, now the best commentary, if you're not looking beyond Sky. You cannot look beyond Sky.
Hussain,
Athers, Nasser.
Even Rob Key. Very, very
But
good.
Rob Key, how much commentary does he do now?
He did for a couple of years.
Now he can't, no, because he's...
Mark Butcher.
Butcher, another one.
Very good. And of course, who's the guy who moderates? He used to play even for England. Oh,
Mark Ramprakash?
No. Ward.
Ian Ward.
Ian Ward. Very good commentator.
even Alan Wilkins is not bad.
No, for that matter.
Yeah, but he doesn't do Sky.
Wilco doesn't do Sky.
Unfortunately, now is in the ICC. If you look at it in all the qualifier events, he does commentary for that. But otherwise, growing up, I mean, we also had our Fab Four.
Mark Nicholas.
does.
Excellent. But
Sky, in that sense, I think for whatever sporting this thing I've seen they cover, I always know that when I watch F1, even in recent times, India hasn't had there's no broadcast, so I had to subscribe to F1 TV. And they give you an option. Do you want the F1 commentary or do you want the world feed? And the world feed is the Sky guys.
Wow.
I would always pick the Sky guys. Croft and these guys, Martin Tyler, Blundell, yeah.
But Karan also does it for them.
Karan does, yes.
He's fantastic.
His analysis is really, really good, Karan Chandra. So I love listening to them. Even for that matter, if you see, and Sky have a vested interest in this, when it comes to their Premier League coverage, why do I say Sky have a vested interest? Without Sky, the Premier League as it is wouldn't exist. It was Sky's money that propelled them, and it is Sky's money that is still there. And even they might say that, praise the product or say stuff like the best league in the world, most competitive. But when it comes to calling a spade, their experts are second to none. And the analysis is fab. Always.
That you have to give it the two things that you can like about the UK thing.
But I like BBC's panel.
BBC's panel, the match of the day is just a different vibe.
Yeah.
That's a different vibe.
Jonathan Agnew.
TMS.
New deal is well signed now. Match of the day. You signed a 6-year contract thing, runs into 6.7 billion or something.
No, but the 6.7 billion is the Sky deal, not match of the day.
It's the match of the day deal.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Just for highlights, imagine.
Yes.
For 40 years, 2018, an era ended. When India was touring in Australia, that was the first broadcast minus Channel 9. It was Channel 7 and Fox that came in.
Yeah.
It was an end of an era for a lot of us in that way.
Okay, I'm coming back to the topic that we started with, Sreesanth and Gautam Gambhir. So what you had already what do you make of it? Did we start?
Yeah, I started saying I don't know who is right and wrong in this.
To be not, even I can't pick one person, although to be fair, Gambhir usually requires some provocation. There's something, like I know he'll go like a house on fire afterwards, but there had to have been something.
He's not the initiator.
Yes, he won't start the fire, but he'll burn the place down.
So you think somebody must have started?
Again, this is all just speculation. I don't know. No one knows what was going on there.
Again, like we said, for that instance when Naveen and Virat had a go at each other and everything happened, we said, there weren't enough cameras, we didn't get proper footage. Perhaps the same thing here, you won't expect 24-30 cameras to, be there for an LLC match. But from whatever little that we've seen, again, he hits 2 boundaries, so I don't know why a batter who's hit 2 boundaries would then have reason to have a go. So
happens.
Again, I don't know. Again, you're in a happy place. If you're a batter and you hit 2 consecutive boundaries, so maybe.
They keep wanting to do that.
Yeah.
So.
Mushfiqur Rahim.
Look,
Sreesanth. Amir Sohail also did.
Amir Sohail. But so that's one part. Again, that's just one part of it. But I can say one thing. I think definitely Gambhir is enjoying whatever is happening with that tweet of his that he's put out. I think he's like, he's again taken that box office seat and he's enjoying all the action and drama and he's fine with it.
See, it's nothing new with both of them. See, the only common thing is that they like to pick fights between two, and the divide is also broken. North-South divide is broken in this case. Gambhir and Sreesanth. I mean, look, Sreesanth, if you look at
it. We started with North-South.
See, Sreesanth, I remember, I think he went after Andrew Simons in Kochi. Simons had hit him for a 4 and a 6, and after he got him out, I think it was a couple of balls later, the way how he celebrated, that raised a few temperatures in the Australian team.
If you want to make a list,
Yeah.
he did that in the T20 World Cup 2007.
Yeah, Hayden.
But it all started when you saw signs of what he can do with Sachin Tendulkar in the Challenger.
Yes,
Correct.
he had dismissed Tendulkar, and then he was like really celebrating.
He gave him a nice little send off.
Yeah,
Very
he gave
nice
a send off to Sachin, and that was like
Uh-oh.
unheard of.
My personal.
Get in.
2005, right?
Even Andre Nell.
I was coming to that.
That was much later. I was there at the ground when that happened.
But again, two combustible elements.
Yes.
Nell was also
Yeah.
somewhere loose here.
Bit of a nutcase that way.
I was at the ground when that happened. But I used to love Sreesanth for that, because you need some sort of a character, right? Not everyone can be like a robot and just put your head down and just bowl. Doesn't matter what the situation. So I loved him for the person that he was. I was there at the ground in Joe.
I loved him for his scene position also. I think one of the best presenters of the scene.
And luckily the cameras caught. It was Nell who was provoking him.
Yeah, but I'm saying those are many incidents about Sreesanth that has happened. But all I'm saying, you can't, like, if he was like that, I wouldn't fault him. Why would everyone be similar? And if Gautam is like that, I wouldn't fault. I mean, it just so happens, I'm not friends with anyone, but these two guys I'm very good friends with. Both Gautam Gambhir and Sreesanth. I've had the opportunity of knowing them at a personal level, and both are fantastic guys, really nice guys. And sometimes when I'm with them, away, obviously chatting and spending a lot of time away from the cricket field, and I've spent hours talking, I cannot believe that they are the same two guys that you were just talking about, combustible individuals.
Yeah.
They are so calm in person. I can't tell you. And that's why I'm saying that when this happens in the field, and we're not surprised. There are certain people who are like high tension, you know that, okay, they can be just one push here or there and they can be ready for a fight. You know that.
Yeah.
But with these two, when you are in person talking to them, they are, even Gautam for that matter,
Yeah.
he's a lovely guy, so soft spoken, and you can never imagine that he'd be that guy who gets fired up. Same with Sreesanth.
Same with Virat.
Same with Virat, but Virat I haven't spent too much time, so I don't know. But in Gambhir and Sreesanth's case, I've spent time for hours chatting, different places, different settings, away from cricket, multiple areas that I can think of, even for a dinner sort of a setting. I cannot believe that those are the two guys here. But then I see that on the field, it happens. So, by the way, I mean, for people who don't know, because that's why I'm saying that people only see them on the field. If you got to know these two guys as I got to know them over the years, if you spend time with them, they are two of the most gentle and the most polite people that you can come across. Firstly, as people, I'm saying. Secondly, what happened, and we know that sometimes what happens that they can be, you poke a bear sort of a situation where there is certain thing that doesn't happen, and who knows who said what at what time, and people making allegations or things on social media. So I won't even get into that because I don't know, I wasn't there. But all I'm saying is that once, I don't know what your opinion is, but I'm of the opinion that if it happened on the field, whether you liked it or you didn't like it, it should end there. It should just end there. If I was either one of them and it happened to me, and I did, let's say, me and Siddharth got into a fight, and I did not like what he said, and it's not necessary that I need to forgive him, I do not forgive. But I will never go public with, saying things about him publicly. Anybody. I may still hold a grudge. Next match, I may still have a go at him. Or I may never be friends with him. I may never send him a Christmas card or go for a meal with him. Those things are also fine. But each his own, right? Some people forget, move forward, shake hands, bygones be bygones. Some people cannot. Fair enough, whatever you are. But I'm of the opinion, because if you play sport, this is one rule that I follow in sport. What happens on the field stays on the field. You can get back next match. After that, don't be friends in personal life. All that is also fine. Your decision. You decide. But I would not make everything public as to what was said, what did I say, what the other person said. This happened. I would not do that. That is something that I'm against. Rest. There are match referees, there are other people to decide who's guilty, who's not, do an investigation, punish the person whoever is it. If you need any punishment, if you think it's a sporting incident, just let it go by.
Funny part is this would be the most busy that any of the match referees for an LLC match would be. Poor guys are probably thinking that they're on like a glorified vacation and now something like this happens.
True.
We mentioned about Lalit Modi cashing in on the opportunity for IPL. Maybe this is LLC's moment.
Can happen, yeah. We got these two guys have won 2 World Cups together. 7 and 11. So
11.
It's interesting that both of them are there. And you're bringing the number 7-11.
Can't help
Because
it.
neither of them ever stop.
They never stop, and I guess that's how they are. That's how they have been. On the field, off the field, they are gentlemen, like as Nikhil said. So, the curious case of Gambhir and Sreesanth.
I don't think we've heard the end of it. Something else will come out from somewhere.
Yeah.
It just always tends to happen in these sort of he said, she said things. Because until we actually get that stump mic thing, if we ever do, it's just going to be conjecture.
It's never happening.
No.
Indeed.
On that note, thank you very much,
Sat Sri Akal.
Sat Sri Akal, for joining us on the dugout. Been lean days, not too much cricket happening, but not too many days to go.
3 days to go.
Cricket's about to start, and then the women's series, of course, happening,
Yes.
which we covered yesterday. So yeah, don't forget to subscribe to
Yep.
Sports Today. Sorry we could not take your questions today because I need to be somewhere. But what we'll do is maybe I'll tell one of our producers, the 2 hardworking guys in Pawan and Shashwat, to take out some of your important questions and make a note of it. Not all, maybe good 5-6 questions. And for tomorrow's dugout, we start by answering those questions and then get into the subject. How's that?
Yep.
We do that.
We do that.
Works.
We do that.
So if you haven't sent any question in the live chat, you could put it in the comment section. We'll keep a note of it.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Bye bye. Good night. Shabba khair. Shubh ratri. Vanakkam. Nandri.
Eat your vegetables.
Khuda hafiz. Everything. Bye.
Bye bye.